Say we're doing a product, we're Disney, of course we're going to have a press event at Disneyland. But it's actually really meaningful with all the Epic Mickey first game, now with Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two. There's a lot of heritage that gets pulled upon. So I'm sure anybody who's spent any time talking with Warren knows how important that is, the vital life and heritage that started with Walt 80 years ago, and what that means to us and what it means to this game. There are components of the game that are there for that are in there that are driven directly from the original dreams and visions of Walt and the Imagineers, elements from the park. So it is very important for us to be here. There's a real serious connection to Disneyland, which is why it was perfect for us to be here. This handsome gentleman is me. I took this photo last night. For those of you who've known me for a while in Interactive, I felt I had to have a new photo because I've lost a lot of weight and I don't have a beard anymore. So people will recognize me. I have the distinct honor of being able to work with a lot of great teams, a lot of great projects at Disney Interactive in the core group. But more importantly, I want to quickly acknowledge and thank our friends and partners here at the park for bringing us into such a great space to have this event and to set up some really amazing things we're going to be doing a little later on after the press event. Quickly wanted to give a shout out to Disney California Adventure, which of course we are attached to here. The park reopened on June 15th of this year and the grand opening of Cars Land, then the Buena Vista Street remake. That culminated a 5-year expansion of Disneyland, Disney California Adventure, which included Toy Story Mania, World of Color, and Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, and more areas, including, of course, the brand new Cars Land that opened. I was very lucky. I got to go to one of the early employee events, so I only had about a 2-hour wait to go on to Radiator Springs Racers, which is just one of the largest and most elaborate attractions ever created for the Disney theme parks. And so if you get a chance to wait in line to go on that thing, it is totally worth it. Also, Buena Vista Street is our newly themed and redesigned entrance to California Adventure. It's reminiscent of Los Angeles in the 20s and 30s when Walt first arrived here in California. There's shops and locations that call to mind stories and characters that were originally created in those early days of Disney animation. Notably, Oswald's, so very, very thematic for our event today. And you're going to see the filming station, which is right at the entrance to the park. Something we're going to be doing a little later that I just wanted to note before we dive into the rest of the event is we're going to be going on something that's very special there, which is we call Walk in Walt's Footsteps. That's a chance we're going to go through the park, see areas that were very important and key to Walt, even getting to go to some places that really nobody gets to go into unless you get some really special access, which, again, we've been branded by our friends here. So, yeah, that one's exciting. I'm actually kind of getting chills thinking about the stuff we're going to get to go do. The reason I want to point that out is that, well, we'll see that those aren't areas, originally I know we've had other tours and other things we've talked about, we go to areas that are associated with the game. This is something that's very different and really special. It's all about Walt and the vision that he had and areas that were special to him. So with that, and having made those announcements and welcome you all, I would now like to welcome Warren Spector to the stage. Warren's going to talk to you about the game, and you're going to hear some awesome stuff. This is
Hello again, everybody. I feel like I know you all personally. We've talked about this game a lot. I've talked about this game with many of you before. There are a bunch of things that we've talked about before. I want to recap very quickly. We've talked about how we are on all platforms now. The first game was a Wii exclusive. Now we are on PS3, 360, Wii, and you'll get to see Wii U in a little while. We've talked about how we addressed the lack of character voices in the first game. In this game, everyone speaks every line of dialogue, including some that never spoke before, like Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, the Gremlins, and others. We addressed a lot of our camera issues, though it's up to you to assess how we did on that. But we heard loud and clear that one of the things people wanted us to work on in the first game was our camera system, so we worked very hard on that. The team did a great job, I think, but you'll get to make your own mind up. I'm not going to go into this. If you want to talk about persistence when we sit down and talk one-on-one, I'm happy to to do that. This is a geeky game thing. Just leave it. Let's leave it at when you make a choice in this game, it really is gonna matter. In the first game we did what I call choice and consequence light. In this game, everything you do really does matter. In many cases, the choices you make are forever. So think carefully before you draw or erase in Disney Cookie 2. We've talked about some of the settings that we've gone to. New settings like Yensid's Workshop, which is a fully explorable space now, and pretty magical, I think. There's some moments in this that I think are some of the most magical in the game. Oztown, our version of Toontown, which is now a deeper and richer experience than it was in the first game, and very much changed by earthquakes and natural disasters that have affected Wasteland between the first game and the second. We've talked about the Disney Gulch, based on Frontierland, and one of the most interesting and most changed parts of the park for me, and you'll see much more about that in a little while. We talked about a lot of characters, new characters and old characters in new roles. The Blotworks, the combination of Beetleworks and the animatronic Beetleworks and the Toon Blotlings that are in the game. We talked about the Gremlins in their larger role, and Hortensia, Oswald's girlfriend, was sort of an amalgamation of all of Oswald's girlfriends from the cartoons. He's got one steady girl now. He's not playing around. But we talked about all of that. We talked about two-player co-op, which I'm really proud of. And the fact that Oswald is there as an AI-controlled character, even when you don't have a friend sitting with you to play along with you. We've talked about songs in the game. Thank you. Yes, there are several songs in the game. The characters express themselves by breaking into song at various points, which I'm really excited about. It's just a dip of the toe in the water of the interactive musical of the future. If you all like it, you'll see plenty more in the future, trust me. Now, you would think that would be enough, and you're probably wondering, well, why am I sitting here listening to all this stuff I've already heard about? Well, I've been sitting on this stuff for months. we have so many game systems and so much new stuff that I haven't been able to talk about. Let's not point fingers of blame at anybody at Disney and Corporate Communications. But now I can talk about it. No, I just got in trouble. We're going to a new land. Okay, and you'll see it here for the first time. It's inspired by the Mine Train, Your Nature's Wonderland ride. It's based on something real, as everything in the game is. We'll be going to Rainbow Caverns. Here's a little bit of concept art from Rainbow Caverns. Well, that's the concept art. This is the actual map, and you'll get to play it today. And here's a little bit of footage from that. We'll talk more about what just happened there in a second. Oh, and we'll talk more about that sign in a second. Part of the game inspired by the Rainbow Caverns Mine Train, again based on the real thing, and Rainbow Falls. This is, again, concept art. This is the actual game. I'm blown away. By the way, if I haven't made mention of how talented the team is back at Junction Point, let this just be the evidence. I mean, concept art, game. Concept art, game. More game. I go, oh, I forgot my scene. I'm all over it.
Power from the falls unoperated. See if you can use this device to get them running.
The voice of Terry Ellis is Gus Grimmer.
Be right there.
Okay, but we have even more new stuff. We have costumes. During the game, you'll be able to find, be gifted with, rewarded with, or purchase bits of costumes. The hub for that is the Hat Shop on Mean Street. Okay, so all of you demoers, by the way, we're going to be really coy about all this stuff and let people discover it for themselves. But all of these costumes actually affect what Mickey and Oswald can do. So the choice of which costume pieces you buy or find, what you wear, actually will affect what you can do in the game world. So now we have paint, thinner, costumes affecting what the character can do. We have inkwells. Inkwell now, we have invisible ink and indelible ink, of course. And that also affects what Mickey and Oswald can do. You can probably kind of figure it out. The invisible ink is kind of a stealth mode for the game. So, worked on games like Thief and stuff like Deus Ex. You have to have a stealth mode, right? But if you're more of an action-y type, you can make yourself indelible, and I bet you can figure out what that does without me telling. In addition, we have a place called the Observatory, and we're really not going to talk about this, but if you look through that telescope and do some exploring that way, you might learn some of the secrets of the cartoon world of Disney Epic Mickey. There you go, the Observatory. We have even more pins, and now we have a pin shop. So you can lord it over all of your friends and show them your pin collection, which will be different based on, well, which of all those abilities you use, and which ones you collect, and which quests you learn about, and which ones you don't. I'm running out of breath. There's a photo mode, which is an important part of many quests. You'll be sent off to take pictures, and you'll be able to look at your pictures and share them with your friends through the Photoshop. And you're going to want to look for those photo opportunity signs and take a bunch of pictures to record your unique adventure through Wasteland. And then finally, I already mentioned this briefly, but we announced recently that we were going to be not just on, let me see if I can get this right, Wii, PS3, 360, Mac, PC, 3DS with a different game we'll get to in a minute, but also on Wii U. And I've been waiting to use that piece of art for over a year. That is a screenshot of the game, and the game is actually running on the Wii U over in the corner there, so you can go play it yourself today. You are the first humans on the planet to see this outside of the studios. Enjoy that. So that is kind of an overview of the game. And again, you're going to get to play a new level. You're going to get to see all these new game systems that I've been dying to talk about. They really do change the way the game feels. But before we let you on loose to do that, let's talk about Disney Epic Mickey Power of Illusion. I've been wanting to do a handheld version of this game from day one. Well, rather than me talk about it, let's have Peter on, creative director, Dreamer, come up and give you a little preview.
Now, when I first talked to Warren about what we might do in bringing the Epic Mickey universe to the 3DS, one thing that we were pretty sure about was that we wanted to create a standalone experience. After all, why remake the same game on the handheld console instead of actually going ahead and making an experience that's tailor-made to the capabilities and feature set of the actual 3DS hardware? So, with that in mind, we set out to figure out how we could differentiate this game and make the most out of this version of the game. So with that being said, that's how Epic Mickey Power of Illusion was born. And one of the first things that I grabbed onto, being a huge fan of the classic Sega Genesis game, Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, was to try to involve that classic game in Wasteland for the first time. So we're basically bringing forgotten video games to Wasteland. And with that comes the original villain from the original Castle of Illusion game from the Sega Genesis. And her name is Miserable. And her power is basically that she wields the power of illusion. And that allows her to basically create illusions of anything that she wants to that's coming from anywhere in the Disney universe. And this includes things that you haven't seen in Wasteland before, such as famous, beloved characters. Now, throughout Mickey's quest, he'll be able to rescue a huge variety of rescuable, famous Disney characters. And now, these are classic characters that look true to their form within whatever film they come from. And there are a ton of them, and we're just going to take a quick look at a few of them, but there's well over 30 of these in the game for you to rescue. There's characters that span a very broad range, such as, here we have Simba from The Lion King, and Peter Pan from classic Disney. And then mainstay staples such as Goofy. But that's not where it ends. Once you rescue a character within the game, those characters actually go to a really important part of the game, which is a separate sort of mode that you can play outside of the traditional platforming gameplay levels called the Fortress. Once you rescue a character, you can actually go to the Fortress in between levels and play this alternate gameplay mode that's sort of a lifestyle RPG community. And the idea here is that every single character that you've rescued shows up here. And your fortress, although it'll start out very small and humble at the beginning, will actually grow organically based on the characters that you rescue and the activities that you perform with them. Now, one of the outcomes of having performed different quests and activities with these characters is that each character's room that they reside in will actually change and evolve throughout the game based on how much you interact with that character. So here as an example, we have Scrooge McDuck's room, and it starts out very barren and simple. But as you begin to interact with Uncle Scrooge, his room will begin to change. And ultimately, every character's room is able to, if you interact with that character enough and perform enough quests with them, each character's room will actually be a fully realized version of an iconic scene from that character's universe. For example, here we have Scrooge McDuck's final room form, which is the fully decked out office that he uses in DuckTales. All right, so now it's time for something that we haven't shown before, that we've been dying to show you, and you might be able to guess what it is just from the tagline here, but it's the next world in the game. We unveiled the Aladdin world a couple weeks ago back in Orlando, but here's a look at the very next world, or in the game as it's called, Wing of the Castle, and this world is based on the film Little Mermaid. Now here's a shot of actually one of the main environments within this world, and as you can probably tell, it's the iconic Atlantica setting under the sea where Ariel and King Triton and her many friends live. And going onwards through the film and also through the game, through this world in the game, we have Prince Eric's palace where in the film after Ariel strikes her ill-thought-out bargain with the sea witch Ursula, she ends up going to. Here's a screenshot from an actual environment in the game, and once again you can see that here's our realization of Prince Eric's palace. And here's another shot of Atlantica, and you'll notice a very familiar face here underwater. One of the other things that I would point out is that, like all the worlds in the game, this one offers some categorically different type of gameplay, which for the first time the player will encounter within this world with advanced water physics and currents. And going hand in hand with a lot of what you may have seen before in this game, we capitalize a lot on these sort of surreal usage of Disney imagery and environments. And that's no different here in that you'll encounter, arbitrary pockets of air and walls of water that really wouldn't make sense normally. And all of this, with all that being said, there's definitely plenty more surprises that we haven't touched upon, and this is just one of them, which is one of the climactic battles with the dragon from Sleeping Beauty. So that's our quick look at the 3DS version of Epic Mickey, and actually you'll get a chance to play this if you want over in this corner after the presentation's done, and myself and our technical director Ryan Bajai will also be on hand for interviews. And I'm going to go ahead and hand you all back to work.
If you've been caught up in the kind of nostalgia of 8-bit gaming these days, wait till you're reminded of how 16-bit gaming was. This is kind of a tribute to 16-bit platforming, and it's pretty wonderful. So I strongly encourage you to check out the game.